Okay, we are starting on lesson 2.5 today. So the rest of the unit, we will still be doing like systems of equations, that sort of thing. We're just going to be having different ways that we can solve it. So on your test and things, it'll tell you like solve by whatever way of solving or method. So the first lesson that we did was about graphing and seeing where the lines intersect at. So that was our first option. The second is for substitution, so that's what we're looking at today. Remember, if it is a one solution, your answer should still be given as an ordered pair, so x comma y. And then I kind of wrote the steps out here that you can use to solve, so kind of refer back to these today as you do your homework and things. And this first example, so it says, first step, solve for either x or y in one of the equations. If need, pick the simplest option. So sometimes they may already have x or y by themselves. For this one, neither of them are by themselves. So you want to think about which would be the easiest to get one of those variables by itself. So the top one, both variables have a coefficient, so that's going to be a couple steps at least. But the second equation, y is pretty much by itself except for it has that negative on it. So that may be the simplest here. They're both going to be about the same amount of work, but let's say I just start with this one. So I wanted to get one of the variables by itself. So my goal is going to be to get y by itself, okay? So rewrite it. I would start by subtracting 4x. So now I have negative y equals negative 4x, or you could put the 4 first, just the regular 4, it doesn't matter. And since it's negative, that's like negative 1y. I know, well, if I divide everything by negative 1, it's just going to change the sign. So now it will be y equals 4x minus 4. Okay, so I did step 1. Now you want to substitute all of this expression into the y of the other equation. Okay, so all of this is going to go into here. All right. So that's going to be 3x minus 2 parentheses. All of that goes inside. So 4x minus 4, close parentheses, equals, there's still a 3 over here, all right? And it says to also substitute and solve. So now I'm only solving for x because I can't solve an equation with two variables. First thing I want to do is distribute. So 3x comes down, that's not being distributed. Negative 2 times 4x is negative 8x. Negative 2 times negative 4 is positive 8. Combine 3x and negative 8. You don't do the opposite when they're on the same side, so that's just negative 5x plus 8 equals 3. Subtract 8 from 3. Negative 5x equals negative 5. Divide by negative 5. X equals 1. Okay, I like to go ahead and write that in my ordered pair because it says write your answer as an ordered pair. Well, I know x goes first, so I'm going to write 1 first, and then I'm going to go back and do the y in a little bit. All right, so once you have either x or y, in this case x, you want to plug your answer in. So I'm on step 4, so I haven't been marking those off. I did 2 and 3. Plug your answer in to find the other coordinate. Now this does not matter which one, it doesn't matter which you plug in, like the top equation or the bottom equation, either one, but I try to pick which one will be easiest. Sometimes it's about the same. So for this one, I'm just going to plug into the top, but again, it doesn't really matter. So the x equals 1 is going to go in the x spot, so that's 3 times 1 minus 2y equals 3. That's 3 minus 2y equals 3. I'm actually going to move this so I don't run out of room. Okay, minus 3 from 3 gives you 0, and if I divide by negative 2, 0 divided by any number is just 0. So that makes my y coordinate be 0. And that would be a 1 solution. Okay. So number 1 and 2, I will work out 1, and then I'll have you work out 2 and kind of go from there, okay? So the first one, y is already by itself. So all you want to do is just plug it into y of the other equation. So if I have 2x minus 3 and I plug in 4 for y equals 0. Okay, so now I have simplify of 2x minus 12 equals 0. I would add 12. 2x equals 0 plus 12 is 12. Divide by 2, x equals 6. And again, I like to go ahead and plug that in so I know where it's going and I don't forget about it. Okay, and it already told me that the y value is 4, but we can double check this. So there's no x to plug into this one, so I need to plug x into the 2 times x. So 2 times 6 minus 3y equals 0. 12 minus 3y equals 0. Subtract 12. And divide by negative 3. Y equals 4. So you should have still got that even if you plugged it back in like that. So that means our solution is a 1 solution, and it's 6, 4. Okay, I want you to pause the video, take a minute, and try to solve number 2. So you're going to start with plugging all of this in for the y in parentheses. Okay, I'm checking back in here. So I actually only did the x because I wanted to show you something. So I got x equals 0, so hopefully you also got that. So remember, after that, I can either plug into this top one or this bottom one. But try to think about what's going to be the easiest. Well, this bottom equation is way simpler. So I'm just going to plug in y equals 5 plus x was 0, so I write 5 plus 0. That means y equals 5. And then write it in my ordered pair. That's one solution, and that's my final answer. Okay, so next one's a little bit different because we do have to get one of the variables by itself, okay? So you can do either one. I would maybe pick the bottom one just because it's positives, okay? So if I minus 5x, I have 2y equals negative 5x plus 7 divided by 2. And that gives us negative 2.5x plus 3.5. You can do this fractions or decimals. It's just maybe easier to type in your calculator as a decimal, kind of however you want to do. So I'm going to plug all of this now into the other equation. And that is important I plug it into the other one. So that's going to be 3x minus 4 times negative 2.5x plus 3.5 equals negative 1. I'm going to have to distribute my 4, grab my calculator. So 3x plus negative 4 times negative 2.5. I think of that in quarters, so 4 quarters is like $1. In this case, it's going to be positive 10. Negative 4 times 3.5. Different signs gives us negative. Okay, I can combine 3x and 10x to give me 13x. I add the 14 to the negative 1. Gives me 13x equals 13. Divide by 13, x equals 1. Okay, now we go ahead and put that in. All right, over here to this, oh, right under here. 1 comes first because 1 was the x value. And now if I'm going to solve for the y, remember I can plug this 1 either in here or in here, either way. I like to plug it into the positives, so that's 5 times 1 plus 2y equals 7. Subtract 5 from 7, I'm going to not show that because I'm running out of space, and divide by 2, y would equal 1. So in this case, it's a 1 solution, and it's 1, 1. Okay, go ahead, take a pause, and try to find just the x coordinate on number 4. Okay, hopefully you got x equals 4, and I plug that in. All right, and I want to take that x and plug it into either of these equations. So I want to do the bottom one. So it's going to be negative 4 times 4 plus y equals 2. Negative 16 plus y equals 2. I would add 16 to 2, and y will equal 18. Okay, so one thing to make sure that you double check, I'm sorry, this is a one solution. Double check that you are writing your answer, if it's one solution, as an ordered pair. So number, comma, number, x value, comma, y value, okay? All right, make sure you are completing the homework for today, so 2.5, and message me any questions if you have them. Have a good day.